go-to in the shuk is the Sal Mazon corner store on the corner of Agrippas and Shiloh Street, right across from the open shuk. And this is a very special corner store. It's owned by a family of Gero Hasidim. And it's a special sort of like not your usual corner store, and that, usually you go to a grocery store or a corner store, and you go and you take what you need, and then you go afterwards and you pay at the cash register. But this place, it's small. So basically all of the products, they're piled high up to the ceiling. So you stand behind a counter and you have to ask these Gero Hasidim who own the place, you have to ask them for everything that you need. So you have to say, please can I have 3 packages of spaghetti and 2 packages of sponges and 3 cans of tomato paste. And then and basically they climb up on ladders and they go back in the storeroom and they bring you everything that you need. What makes this what makes this a special corner store is that it makes shopping an extremely interactive experience, much more so than if you go to the grocery store and take what you need and just go to the checkout and then leave. So what you end up noticing, because it's such an interactive shopping experience, is first of all how high maintenance many of the customers who come to this place are. Basically every single time I'm there, there's some sort of very high maintenance customer who's going into the storeroom themselves and complaining about the way they organize things and complaining about the service and telling them how they should be doing things this way or I was the first in line and da da da. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that really makes it special is just being able to see how the people who work there, how they have stellar midot, how they have phenomenal personal characteristics, how they are people who are completely and totally unflappable. No matter what you say to them and no matter what happens, they never, ever lose their cool. They're never impatient and they're never angry and they're never critical, and they just somehow go with the flow and stay on everyone's good side and run this wonderful little corner store. And it's really something, for me, it's really, I find it inspiring every single time I go in there to see how they cope and to see what kind of people they are. It's really amazing. So just to give you an example about how they deal with people, the other day I was in there, and I had just walked in, and I needed one thing. I needed 1 package of spaghetti, and right when I was staying there, an older man walks up behind me. And he says, okay, I'll take this and this and this and this and this. So I was a little bit uncomfortable. Probably if that person if it hadn't been an older person, probably I would have a little bit stood up for my rights and said, I was here, da-da. But as an older man, what, I'm going to fight with him? And so I said, okay, I'm just going to let things slide. But these people, the people who work there, they're incredible. So basically what they did is they said, okay, I'm getting you right now. What did you want? And then very quietly, he leans over to me and says, and what can I get you? What did you want? And I said, I want a package of spaghetti. He got me very quietly, took the money from me. He did it so quietly and so subtly that the older man didn't even notice that in fact that justice had been done, that he had served me first. But also he did it without making a war, without making a scene, without making a machloket. And it was really, I feel like a model about how to handle human relationships and situations. So a few years ago, I was in the Salmazon corner store, and I overheard the owners having a conversation with one of the customers. And they were saying, if only we could learn in yeshiva full time. That would be the greatest, that would be the best life. We could learn in the Gera Yeshiva down the street in Geula, and that would be the best. That would be the best. We don't have enough money, so we have to work here the whole day. From every day. It's a hard life. Every day from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. They're working in this corner store. So when I heard that, I could understand that. I understand that it's a loss to the world of Torah study that they're not able to sit in a yeshiva the whole day and learn Torah. But once I heard an interesting metaphor from Rebbetzin Tzipora Heller, and she said that people who are learning the whole time, people who are studying the whole day in yeshiva, it's like people who are swimming in a swimming pool, and that's comfortable and there's not waves and But people who are dealing with like a regular work day, and these people especially, working with high maintenance, difficult customers, she said it's like people who are swimming in shark-filled waters. So it's true, like it's a loss to the world of Torah study that these people aren't studying the whole day. But in terms of becoming, stellar, people with stellar midot, people with stellar personal characteristics, these people are really, really, really like they're swimming every day in the shark-filled waters, and they are surviving, and they are thriving, and they are like models of, human interactions, and they're really, I think, because they're every day in this, corner store and dealing with all these high-maintenance characters, they are really, I believe, spiritual champions. So I wanted to talk, the reason I'm telling you all about this is, of course, because of how it relates to us. How it relates to us mothers of young children, and also older children. And I think that so often, I've spoken about it before, but so often, we look back on our single days, or the days before we had children, and we think, before I was a mother, I was such a perfect human being. I had perfect midot, I had perfect personal characteristics. I was totally patient. I never got angry. I was never critical. I never lost my cool. I was the nicest person in the whole world. I was perfect. But the truth of the matter is that back then, you were like swimming in a swimming pool. You were like swimming laps, freestyle in a swimming pool. No fish around you, no waves, nobody ever to bother you. You're like in your own, lane marked off by, by the floaty things on the sides. You are in your own sort of, nobody's bothering you. And so of course, you're a perfect person. But now that we are mothers and we are surrounded by all of these high maintenance characters, our children, then we are doing the equivalent of what these people in the Salmazon corner store, what they're doing every day. But we're doing it, the difference is that we're doing it 24/7, and they only do it from 7 to 7. We are every day swimming in the shark-filled waters. And because of that, because of these interactions, difficult interactions, day by day by day by day, every day, having to do and having to give and having to, interact with our family members, even in situations which drive us to impatience and drive us to anger and drive us to criticism and drive us to all sorts of character, to discover all sorts of character traits that we didn't even know that we had when we were single. That through that, I really, really believe that we're really becoming more perfect selves. That it's forcing us to face who we are and to perfect ourselves and to become, in that way, spiritual champions. So I want to bless all of us that we should remember that in our lives with mothers, it's not that now that we're mothers, it's not that now we're monsters and we're so much worse than we ever were. It's actually the opposite. It's that now, through motherhood and through coping with, high maintenance characters and through swimming in the shark-filled waters of motherhood, that we are becoming our most perfect selves. I want to bless everyone with an amazing, amazing week.